Hello everyone and welcome to the Design Therapy. Today on this episode I want to talk about some of the top tools for Illustrator that I use on a daily basis that helps me clearly communicate and elevate my design and brand for not only my company but for your company as well. So let's go ahead and jump in there. Today I already made an artboard and put my logo in there. So I'm already on the black arrow, which is your selection tool. This allows you to select compounds or objects in their entirety instead of a singular item. So if I click on this, it selects the entire thing because it's grouped together. If I wanted to come down here, I made some shapes. If I drag across the screen, I bring those elements up and I want to select each individual item. This allows me to do that. So if I can click here, I can click off of it. If I want to click on the circle, I can click on the circle. If I want to click on this rounded rectangle that I usually use for buttons, I can do that as well. So the difference between this one and your direct selection tool is that the direct selection tool allows you to click on individual elements or characters. So if I wanted to click on this rounded rectangle, you see how all of these points popped up. If I click on one of those points, that allows me to edit that and manipulate that singular point. So if I wanted to make it kind of this shape, I can make it that shape. Or if I zoom in, and I wanted to make this Y right here a different color, because just say that's something a part of my aesthetic that I really wanted it to pop out in a different color. So I select it with the direct select tool. I come over here, I'll change the color, and there you go. It's a different color. So I'm going to do Command Z and undo that. I'm going to Command Z and undo that. So what Command Z is kind of like a little quick trick. I wish we could do that in real life sometimes. You know, if you spill water, Command Z it, and it undoes that, that undoes that action. So in Illustrator, if you Command Z anything, it'll help take you back to a certain point as far as your document has been saved that day to redo or start over if you've messed something up. So we have your selection tool and your direct selection tool. So next we have your Magic Wand tool over here. This allows you to select a color in its entirety and it collects everything on the artboard. So if I wanted to just pick this purple, I select it, it selects everything on the artboard that is purple. So if I had this and this square was in, say, this gold color, and I wanted to select all of the gold color on the artboard, I would grab the Magic Wand tool again, select it, and it selects all of that color. And if you wanted it, so if you select it and you wanted to change that color, you could change it to say like green or blue or anything like that. So I'm going to Command Z that, make it go back. So our first three tools that I've used is Selection Tool, your Direct Selection Tool, and your Magic Wand. Next on the list we have your Pen tool. So this is the most essential, I think, in my opinion, the most essential tool in all design for Illustrator. It allows you to do mostly anything that you want it to. Adding layers and points and different shapes. A lot of illustrators use this. So what you do, if you wanted to make your own square instead of a perfect square over here, you can click, see how it drags a straight line, hold it down, click, do the same thing over here, click, 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 and I just made a new square. So if I wanted to make a different shape than a straight line, you see how this is a straight line, I'm not holding down anything. So if I click and drag, see how that allows it to be more of an organic shape and form. So if I click that, I click the center of that same point that I just did, come over here, see how it's a straight line again, you want to click and drag, it makes it another organic form. Click the center of that point, and then if I want to connect it, click and drag, and I can make it a cool little shape that I want. So if I want a little blob over there, I can make the little blob. Alright, so that is your pen tool. So you can make a lot of straight lines, organic lines, you can even still make perfect squares, but it is a little easier with the pre-made object over here. But that's your pen tool. So I'm going to go ahead and select this, hold down shift. If I want to select this one over here, I selected both, and delete. clearing my artboard. Next on the list we have your shapes, just like the ones I made down here. So if you hold down, your first one that pops up is your rectangle, or you can do Command M. So you see how I'm not holding down anything, I'm allowing the shape to free form, and it's not making it a perfect square like I did down here in the bottom left. So I drop it. If I make another one and hold shift, drag, you see how it's a perfect square. Same thing with the other shapes. You have your rounded rectangle. This is what I mainly make buttons out of. So I'm not holding down shift and kind of letting it free flow. And I drop it. Or if I want to hold down shift, it makes it a perfect rounded square again. Same thing with the ellipse tool. Hold down shift, perfect. Not hold down shift, I can make a skinny little oval. All right, so those are your shapes. There's a lot of other shapes, and there's your polygon tool and your star and your flare tool as well. So I'm going to grab my selection tool again, click, hold down shift, click, click, click. All of those and delete. I held shift the entire time of selecting all of those items. Okay, next on the list we have, I'm going to jump down here to your eyedropper. Your eyedropper allows you to quickly change an object to the color, specific color if you have it on your artboard, to another. So if I get my selection tool, highlight my golden square down here, I grab the eyedropper and say I want to make that purple again. I didn't want it gold actually, so I eyedrop purple and it makes it purple. So if you hold down Command, see how it kind of changed the shape of that? Hold down Command and say I want to select a different object. I select my other circle and actually want to make that gold. So see how it changed back when I let go of Command? I'm going to make it gold, just like that. All right, that is your eyedropper. Next on the list, and the last thing that I think is the most important that you really kind of need to get familiar with, is your artboard. So if you click the artboard down here, you're going to see how this popped up, this highlighted white space. So right now my artboard is 11 by 8.5, and say I wanted to actually expand it to a legal size paper. So if I went to 14 and clicked enter, it automatically made my space to the size that I needed it. You can do it manually, so if you grab over here and kind of like move that around, but you can see that it's like an off size. It doesn't matter if it's like digital most of the time, but if you're printing something that has a specific specs and sizing to it, I would stick to your width and height up here. All right, I'm gonna click off of that. So this was kind of, I know it's not all of the tools, but these are some of the tools that I mainly use on, like, as I said, a daily basis that really help me clearly convey what I'm trying to communicate. And I hope that these were helpful for you. I will do another episode of some further in-depth tips, but if you have any questions or comments, please put those down below, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll see you next time. Bye.